Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will tell you that I approached the mic today with no small amount of reluctance. I want to start out by saying that I have the greatest admiration and respect for the bill's sponsor, and I would certainly never argue constitutionality with him because I'm smarter than that. I'm from Southwest Missouri, and being accused of not supporting the Second Amendment is no small issue if you're from Southwest Missouri. And I'm confident that's exactly what's going to happen. It's not true. In fact, it's so untrue that it borders on an outright lie. But that's not going to stop people from making that argument. The Second Amendment, Mr. Speaker, is so uniquely American that it is part of our international identity. Nowhere else in the world or in history have the people given themselves the right to keep and bear arms. It is unique to us in this nation. And in my heart, it's darn near sacred. This piece of legislation, Mr. Speaker, is not the Second Amendment. It's a piece of legislation that has Second Amendment incorporated by word only. For years, this body has told the world that we support law enforcement. We back the blue. In fact, we even, a couple of years ago, passed authorization to allow us to have license plates that said that very thing. And then we do this. This bill creates an entirely new category of lawsuit aimed squarely at police officers, at their agencies, at their employers. It grants standing to anyone who believes an individual has taken action that would violate the provisions of this bill. It takes away sovereign immunity. It makes no provisions about who's going to pay for all these lawsuits, whether it's 1 or 100. It makes our officers second-guess everything they do with their federal counterparts. It threatens their relationship with their federal counterparts. And it fundamentally vilifies law enforcement by suggesting that we have to tell them that they're supposed to protect people's Second Amendment rights, like they don't know that. It prohibits any officer who previously enforced something that would violate this act. And what that does by effect is any officer coming to us with experience from another state would be unable to perform the law enforcement function in this state because they've all done that. It's federal law. They were doing their duty. They were enforcing the law as it existed at the time. And so none of them could come here during our law enforcement shortage and stand in. And we call this backing the blue? I don't think so. I'm not arguing the constitutionality of this bill. I'm just not willing to stand quietly by and allow our police officers to become sacrificial lambs so that we can make the argument. Our cops are the guardians of the Bill of Rights. They're the first line of defense, and they take that role seriously. Missouri knows, respects, and supports the Second Amendment. I personally, and I think most police officers, don't need to be told how important it is. And I'm under no illusion that remarks here today are going to change the course of this bill. It's likely to pass. But I'll be darned if I will sit here quietly while we cast our police officers under the bus. At the very least, somebody needs to object on their behalf. Constitutionality aside, our cops need our support, and it should be more than us standing up and saying it and then doing something contradictory when it meets our personal needs. A few years ago, this same bill was presented, and I voted in favor of it. I had voted against it the first time. I voted in favor, and I have second-guessed myself ever since. I can't bring myself to do it again. This makes sacrificial lambs of our police officers, and I won't do it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.